Hello, guys. Good morning. Happy coffee talk. Oh man, I am sitting on this yoga ball, and so first off, I have a kneeler chair. So I had a regular chair, a yoga ball, and then I went to this kneeler chair. A kneeler chair is, if you've never seen them before, if you ever been to a physical therapist, they tend to roll around on some version of a kneeler chair. You kind of like sit with your knees forward and your hips more upright. And I do generally like this chair, but I've been having some hip issues. I think to be honest, I think my hip issue is from doing all the walking, and I wore out my tennis shoes just like a little bit too far. And I think like it aggravated my hip. And then, I didn't think about it, but walking on the same side of the road, like there's a slant, and I've walked probably, 100 miles in a month for sure. And so, anyways, I made my hip aggravated. So I swapped out my kneeler chair for this yoga ball that I've had in the garage for ever. I mean, I've had this yoga ball for years. And yesterday, Georgia snuck up behind me and stabbed it with a fork. I mean, for real, she stabbed it with a fork. I don't know why. I was working on an email. Her babysitter's out of town this week, so I think she was probably sick of entertaining herself. Like, she had some fun yesterday, but for the most part, she was entertaining herself, and I think she was sick of it. And so she decided to stab my yoga ball with a fork, and so now it has a hole in it. So I taped it up with Scotch tape, and I'm sitting on it right now, but I'm about 3 inches lower than I would like to be at my desk. So unfortunately, I'm going to go swap this back out for my kneeler chair, and hopefully it's okay for my hip. The ball's been nice on my hip. It's been like softer. It's been better to sit on. But the ball is now dead. It's dead. And I think if I have my son go fill it up, it's just not going to retain. I mean, I'm sure you could patch it. I don't know what kind of thing you need for patching it. Maybe duct tape? I don't know. I don't have any duct tape. I taped it up with Scotch tape. So Scotch tape is not going to do the trick in the long run. We know that for sure. Coffee this morning is Wicked Wolf coffee. It's in this really cool mug that I got at Annapolis Pottery a couple years ago at a Fit Me event. I love this mug. It's just beautiful. It has like all of the different colors in it. You guys know like my mug thing is weird, but I like the ones that kind of remind me of nature, and this one does. So I have some cool stuff that I'm excited to do in the next couple weeks. So I decided to take a little adventure. I am going to drive to Canada. So my kid's dad is coming back from deployment. So I shared over email a couple of weeks ago, and I think I shared with you guys, but we're in the middle of a divorce. And so I don't really want to go into the details or anything like that. But when he gets back from deployment, I want to give him some good time to be with the kids. And so I was trying to figure out, what could I do? That's something that I could go do, right? So I was trying to pick something out, and I decided that I am going to drive to Banff. It's in Canada. Number one, I've never been to Canada. Two, Banff is about a 10-hour drive. So first off, I like driving. I like road trips. I've done lots in my life, and I even drove cross country by myself with my two dogs back probably 5 years ago when we moved out to Washington State. So road trip part, that seems like totally cool, and it's about 10 hours, so that's not hard. I'm gonna get up first thing so I'm not going this week. It's not next week, it's the following week. So it's like second week of July. And so I'm going to get up super early, and I'm going to drive. I'll probably get there, I would guess, like 4 or 5 at night, and I'll set up camp. I'm going to be in a campground. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm actually going to camp on my car. So I learned this by accident, actually. I did Mount St. Helens a couple of weeks ago, and we were supposed to camp on the mountain. We were supposed to hike in 4 miles, camp on the mountain, do the summit, come back down. Well, the weather was terrible. And so my friend who was organizing, she's a pretty experienced hiker, said, hey, we're going to car camp, which means we're going to get there, we're going to sleep in our cars, and then we're going to do the entire mountain in one day rather than camp on the mountain because the weather was crap. So I was like, car camping? Okay. Well, I have a 4Runner, so I was interested in what that would be like, and it actually was fine. I put a sleeping bag in the back of the 4Runner, put the seats down. My son and I were both in there. We had all of our stuff, and we stayed dry, and it felt safe because we were in the car. And I was like, this is kind of an interesting situation. And 4Runners are big to me. I mean, they feel big. So anyways, I invested in a air mattress that's designed for the back of the 4Runner. It actually has two sides to it. So you can inflate both sides if you have two people, or if you just want to if you just have one person, you can inflate one side. And so I got this air mattress, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to drive to Banff, and I got a campsite for 3 nights. And I'm going to camp in my car, which feels safe to me. I mean, I'm going to have to take some stuff. Like I'm going to be taking bear spray for bears and people just to keep myself safe. But it's a state park a federal park of Canada. This is not like camping in the middle of the woods by myself. This is like at a public, very open campsite with lots of campers and on a lake and stuff. So it should be a-okay. And I'm going to have my bear spray, right? And so I'm going to camp on this awesome lake in Banff. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm going to hike. I'm going to find some adventures, and I'm going to be outside, and I'm going to check it out. The Canadian Rockies, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to learn. But I found some cool restaurants. I found some cool hikes. I've got to figure out how I want to actually do car camping, though, because I've got the sleeping part nailed. I got that part figured out. I'm also going to pack my paddleboard. I think I have an inflatable paddleboard. So I'm going to take that with me, which should be really cool, too. And so I'm taking that. I'm sure I could rent paddleboards. I don't know. Has anybody ever been to Banff? If you have, let me know. But I'm going to take my inflatable paddleboard, and then the part that I have to figure out is food. Like I'm sure I'm going to eat out at least once because I'd like to check out some of the restaurants. But to be honest, I would mostly like to just pack food. So I think I'm going to pack nutrition on travel. Here's what I generally take when I'm traveling. If I'm doing a road trip, how do I eat reasonably healthy? I pack a lot of, turkey sandwich style things. So I'll get deli turkey, I'll get cheese, I'll get good bread, I'll get lettuce, I'll get bell peppers and hummus, those kind of things. Because to me, I'll eat those while I drive, but those are also great camping things. I will also probably bring some protein shakes because that's really easy. I definitely have to bring coffee. For the hikes, I'll probably pack a mixture of protein bars, and then I'll pack some trail mix and some dried fruit, which is usually all I need when I'm hiking. And then I just got to figure out some dinner stuff. So that's kind of what I was thinking is that's pretty easy. Like sandwiches and, breakfast stuff is fine. I don't want to waste time in the morning cooking breakfast. So there's no universe that I'm doing that. I want to go hike and adventure. So a protein shake is going to be what I do, and a half a sandwich. But dinner though, I'm thinking maybe I'll pack something simple like steaks. I was thinking, what if I just bring 3 or 4 steaks with me and some vegetables, and I can bring a cast iron, because each campsite says they have a way you can do fire and stuff. I don't know. So see, this part is the fuzzier part. I've already been saving all these TikToks of the hikes that I'm going to do. Been saving those. And I have the game plan for the sleeping and the camping. It's the food. I'm I know what kind of healthy food I want to get, but I don't know how I'm going to cook it and stuff. And coffee is a mandatory for me. But again, having to heat up coffee in the morning, I would like to do that, but is it worth it? I'm not sure how to do it. I know you can have a jet boil. I don't know. An instant coffee. I've done that before, but I wasn't in charge of that. Other people were in charge of that when I've been camping before. So that's what I still have to figure out. How am I going to have hot coffee? Do I really need hot coffee? Which I think the answer might be yes, because that might be kind of magical. And then how am I going to cook steaks? I think on a cast iron, but then I have to make a fire or something. So that's my TBD. And then I might bring, I was trying to think what should be some good carbs for the evening that are easy to cook. I know you can cook a baked potato. I know you can take a baked potato and wrap it in tinfoil and throw it in fire. But how long will it take? I have no idea, right? So that might not be the right choice. But what if I chop up those potatoes, put them in tinfoil, and throw it in the fire? I feel that could work. So I think maybe that's what I'll do. I'll chop up potatoes with some vegetables, wrap them in tinfoil, put them in a little olive oil and seasoning, and throw them in the fire. I've done camping for a long time. I've just never done it like this. So anyways, I'm kind of telling you about this for my coffee talk today, just because it's exciting and it's coming up. And 1, if you have any feedback or thoughts, I would love it. But 2, I feel like it's an adventure. And sometimes we have to take moments that can feel hard, this is going to be a hard transition season for me and my family, and seize the day a little bit. Do something that you feel hey, this is actually something that's going to fill my cup in some kind of way. And although this is a challenging season, it's an opportunity to do something. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to whatever. And I know that's like sunshine and rainbows on a tough situation, but at the end of the day, you get to choose if you want sunshine and rainbows on a tough situation. Ultimately, I could sit around and be sulky and grumpy, or I can spend some good quality family time, which is what we're going to do. Next week, we're going to spend some family time all together. And then I'm going to take some time for myself and give them some space, which I think is nice. I think that's probably the way to go. And so that is my game plan to go to Banff. And again, am I saying that we can always find like sort of like these like personal development silver lining moments? I'm not even saying that. I actually think that maybe the silver lining is that I have a couple of days that I can go do something, which I'm grateful for, because that's in its own thing kind of cool. But also, what is it that I need to fill my cup in this season and to help me feel centered? And I think that feels so selfish even to say out loud. I'm like, oh my God, I feel selfish even telling you that I'm considering that. But why not consider that? Why not consider what you need to be fulfilled, or to be balanced, or to be centered, or to be uplifted, or to be encouraged, or to be motivated, or to be connected, or to be grounded? Like, I love all of these words, and I think we have to consider, what do we need and which of those things are we needing right now? I think sometimes we do need to feel centered. I think sometimes we do need to feel a little grounded. Sometimes we do need to feel uplifted, right? Like the complete opposite, almost like I'm not even worried about it right now. I'm just free to think about things. Sometimes we do need to feel inspired or motivated or calibrated. Like I'm kind of loving this idea of all of these things that we can intentionally choose at different times and say, like, what is it that makes me feel centered? For me, centered means like something feels out of whack, like either my attention, my energy, my mood, my something feels off of center, like it's being pulled, or that I have directed that attention somewhere else. So coming back to center feels better. It feels like balance, right? So what makes me feel centered? It's very easy. I already know. Going outside and walking in nature. 10 out of 10. I always feel centered, almost like I come out of that feeling, okay, like things just seem like they're in a different kind of perspective then. That always works for me. Sometimes when I need to feel like uplifted or energized, it's laughing. It's laughing with someone who has that same sense of, like, some version of the same sense of humor that I have, that we can just laugh. And maybe it's like ridiculous, maybe it's kind of whatever, but I love the just laughing with someone. And that releases a lot of stress, and it makes me feel uplifted. It makes me feel like I've let go of some of the things that are heavy and like weighing me down, right? And so I know that I can spend time with some friends who can make me laugh. That is going to solve that problem. I say solve lightly, right? Like, it's not solving any problem. It is shifting your mood and energy intentionally, because when you've shifted, well, then you can approach things. So I think, like, here's the part that I could say that you can take away from this, because I appreciate you listening to my like exciting story about how I'm going to go to Banff, and I'm probably going to talk about it a lot over the next couple of weeks. But it's not about putting a Band-Aid or covering up your feelings. It's when we approach life and challenges and things that we want with the right mindset, we're able to make more informed decisions. We're able to understand people differently. We're able to like interact with more empathy. We're able to give ourselves more grace. We're able to push ourselves harder instead of feeling like off-kiltered or fuzzy or disconnected. And so it's very important that we understand what things or actions or activities help us to get into a good headspace. And so exercise and walking is something that I utilize every day to manage my headspace, every single day. And I'm not talking that I have like a crazy headspace. I'm talking about just life maintenance, being outside and walking. That helps me. That helps me feel more clear and ready for my day and able to focus and concentrate, it is very helpful. And I know that that's an action that I can take to do that. And so then when I'm approaching the day's problems, I actually approach them differently. So it's not like Band-Aid things. It's like I have done the things I need to do to take care of my mind so that I can approach challenges with the best possible version of me, right? So those can be little things like a daily walk. It could be, drinking some water, eating some good food where you're like, hey, I'm going to approach this with the best version of me. If I'm skipped meals, if I've just been snacking on sugar all day, I don't feel like the best version of me. How can I approach my presentation at work? How can I approach this tough conversation I need to have with someone tomorrow? How can I approach this difficult travel day with my kids tomorrow? If I haven't taken care of myself, how can I approach that as the best version of myself? And like headspace wise, it's exactly the same. It's like, how can you approach these challenges if you haven't taken care of yourself? What do you need? It's time to start figuring it out. And so in this season, one of the things that I think will be really beneficial for me is to take these couple of days solo and go be somewhere beautiful that I have access to just from driving. I got to find my passport. I know I have it somewhere, but I have access to it and I'm going to go there. So hopefully this coffee talk was helpful. I'd love to hear back from you either about my upcoming Banff trip or just in general about this episode. So if you feel so inspired, tag me on Instagram, share this episode. Let me know what you think. If you haven't done so, subscribe to Fit Me Coffee Talk on your favorite podcast platform. If you're not a part of our Facebook group yet, we have free, fun, motivating activities that we do in there every single month, and I would love to have you be a part of it. So go to Facebook, search Fit Me Community, request to join the group, and I will add you there. And I look forward to seeing you there. Talk to you soon. Bye.